I'm Zoe Perry, and today I'm going to be reading from my translation of this novel by Ana Paula Maia. It's called De Cada Quinhentos, Alma. Ana Paula Maia is a Brazilian author and screenwriter. She's originally from Rio. This is her 8th novel. It was published last year in 2021 by Companhia das Letras. And it's the second in a planned trilogy. The first book of the trilogy is called Enterre seus mortos. That was published in 2018, and in 2019 it won the prestigious São Paulo prize for Novel of the Year. I'm going to be reading from the book's opening chapter, which is where we meet a character named Branco Gil. He's one of a few recurring characters that readers will see in the author's other novels. This book takes place in a desolate, unspecified location, but probably somewhere in Brazil's central west, where a series of strange and seemingly apocalyptic events are occurring. O fim do mundo está do outro lado da porta, mas isso ele ainda não sabe. Com as costas, Branco Gil empurra as portas venezianas enquanto segura uma pilha de pratos e coloca-a sobre o balcão do restaurante. Seca as mãos no avental e sai para fumar um cigarro de palha antes que o expediente do almoço comece. Faz um dia parcialmente nublado, porque ao longe é possível ver os raios do sol. O que bloqueia o céu sobre sua cabeça ainda não afeta o horizonte a quilômetros de distância, porém é visível a tempestade que se aproxima. Um homem caminha até ele. Me mandaram falar com você. Sobre o quê? Uma encomenda. Para quem? Para um sujeito disposto a pagar bem. Ele já sabe como é o trabalho? Sabe sim. Andaram roubando dele. Os primeiros clientes começam a chegar e a poeira debaixo dos pneus dos carros forma uma nuvem irrespirável. Branco Gil pretende deixar esse emprego até o fim do dia. Faz alguns cálculos de cabeça e assegura-se de que economizou o suficiente para os próximos 3 meses. A dona do restaurante, uma mulher corpulenta que gosta de usar salto alto e calças de lycra, olha para ele pela janela do restaurante. Ansioso, o homem espera por uma resposta. Eu aceito. Me encontro mais tarde nesse endereço. Te passo as coordenadas. Branco Gil guarda no bolso da calça o pedaço de papel com o endereço. Sabe que é hora de entrar no restaurante e encerrar o expediente. Assim o faz. 4 horas depois, coloca o avental sobre o balcão, ajusta a camisa para dentro das calças e pede demissão. Certeza mesmo? Já fiquei tempo demais. Não pode esperar até amanhã? Preciso arranjar um substituto. Não tenho até amanhã. Ela arqueia as sobrancelhas, mas sem duvidar. Entra na cozinha e vai até seu pequeno escritório. Retorna com um envelope amarelo e o põe sobre o balcão. Acho que está tudo aí. Ele confere o dinheiro no envelope e percebe que há um pouco mais do que deveria. Antes que possa dizer qualquer coisa, ela bate com as unhas grandes e decoradas sobre o balcão e diz: Você fez por merecer. Dá uma piscadela para ele, que apenas acena cordialmente com a cabeça, coloca seu chapéu estilo Panamá e sai. The end of the world is on the other side of the door, but he doesn't know it yet. Holding a stack of plates, Branco Gil backs through the swinging doors and places them on the restaurant's counter. He wipes his hands on his apron and goes outside to smoke a cigarette before the lunch shift starts. The sky isn't completely overcast because you can still see the sun's rays in the distance. The clouds above haven't yet reached the horizon several kilometers away, but an oncoming storm is visible. A man walks up to him. I was sent to speak with you. What about? A job. Who for? For guys prepared to pay good money. Does he know how I work? Yeah, he does. Folks have been stealing from him. The first customers trickle in, and dust billows from under the car's tires in suffocating plumes. Branco Gil plans to leave this job by the end of the day. He does some math in his head, making sure he's put enough aside for the next few months. The restaurant's owner, a stout woman who likes to wear high heels and leggings, watches him through the restaurant window. Anxious, the man waits for an answer. All right, I accept. Meet me later at this address. I'll give you the coordinates. But Uncle Gilles slips the piece of paper with the address into his pants pocket. He knows it's time to go back inside and finish his shift, so he does. 4 hours later, he puts his apron on the counter, tucks in his shirt, and quits. Are you sure? I've stayed too long already. Can't I wait until tomorrow? I'll need to find a replacement. I don't have until tomorrow. She arches her eyebrows, but doesn't question him. She goes into the kitchen, into her little office. She returns with a yellow envelope and places it on the counter. Should be all there. He counts the money in the envelope and notices it's a little over. Before he can say anything, she taps her long, embellished nails on the counter and says, You deserve it. She gives him a wink, and he just nods his head cordially, puts on his Panama hat, and leaves. He starts up his pickup truck and gets out of there as quickly as possible. He checks the road map in the glove compartment and heads west. He has no plans to change route. He'll just keep heading west, relying on his gut. Moving in that direction gives him a sense of continuity. He brakes when he sees a flock of sheep crossing the road, led by a shepherd. They're a common sight in that region, walking across the roads, grazing all around. He sits there, watching the animals who, like him, march obediently in a steady stream, going with the flow. Irrational, intuitive. Before nightfall, he pulls into a roadside bar. They'd tried to spruce up the joint a bit, but it's nothing but a miserable whorehouse. When he enters, he can smell sweat, French fries, and cheap perfume. A cloud of nicotine hangs over the entire room. The music is nothing to write home about, and the lights are low, but something about the place makes it unique. He sits at the bar and orders a vodka. He lights a cigar, and it brings him comfort. He can't imagine smoking is still allowed indoors, but at a place like this, anything goes. The same man who approached him earlier sits down beside him. He motions to the barman and orders a beer. I'm glad you came, says the man. I gotta admit, I thought you weren't coming. When's it for? As soon as possible. Look, don't worry about it. You'll be doing society a favor. The man takes a sip of cold beer. I love this place. Nice spot. Good music, good food, all the women you could want. I can introduce you to one of the girls. I need to head west. What? The man frowns and leans in when the band starts to play, trying to hear. I need to head west. What's out west? I have to leave by tomorrow. You want to do it today? The man wonders. If that's no problem. But Uncle Gilles finishes his vodka, takes the money out of his wallet, and leaves it on the counter. He picks up his hat and walks towards the door. The man quickly downs the remaining beer at the bottom of his glass and motions for the barman to put it on his tab. If you want to do it now, that's fine by me, says the man, flustered as he walks to his car and grabs a large envelope. Here's her address and a photo. They call that fucking bitch Berta. She's got red hair and a spider tattoo on her neck. She works late at a gas station. If you hurry, you can still catch her there. Oh, and deliveries directly to the client. Here's his address. The man writes the address on the envelope. Without a word, Uncle Gilles climbs into the truck and drives off with the headlights low and the radio on. Several hours later, the sun is nearly up. Worn out, Uncle Gilles shuffles across the cracked and dusty asphalt in his leather boots. He'd left all hope behind. He covers the bed of his truck with a tarp to hide what's inside and drives for 2 hours to the handoff location. As he pulls through the gate, a pack of dogs starts barking at the truck. The first rays of sunshine creep inside the vehicle where Bronco Gilles sits, rattled and exhausted after the long, sleepless night spent hunting the target. On the porch, sitting in a rocking chair, the man carefully cleans a disassembled shotgun, its parts strewn across the ground. Bronco parks the truck a few meters from the porch. He collects himself in the rearview mirror, running a comb through his hair and wiping the corner of his left eye with a tissue. He climbs out and tucks in his shirt. The dogs escort him to the porch, nipping at his heels. How'd it go? That was more work than I counted on. Want a drink? Sure. The man gets up and goes inside the house. He returns with 2 cans of beer. Have a seat. He hands over the beer. Thanks. Bronco Gilles sits down. The crack of the beer can opening sends the dogs closer to their master. He pours some beer into the dog's mouths. You wouldn't happen to have any gasoline around, would you? Sure do, over there in the barn. I'll be needing some. Take as much as you want. I need a new truck. I've got my eye on one of those 4x4s. They're real good, powerful. Next to the porch, the dogs start to fight. The man yells until they quiet down. They're all fired up today. I got home just before sunrise with a jaguar. It's been killing chickens, hogs, calves, even attacked a horse. But that big old pussycat sure is gorgeous. Killed it with a single shot. Want to see? Sure. The two men go to the side of the porch and lean over the railing. A jaguar is stretched out on a tarp on the ground below, with other dogs keeping watch. Get a load of that. Clean shot. I'm going to stuff this one. Fine-looking varmint. Sure is. You got to hold on to a pretty thing like that. Show it off. It'd be a sin to leave it for the maggots. So, what do you got for me? What you hired me to do. They walk to the back of the pickup truck. The man lets out a long whistle of astonishment and grins. Let me help you get her out of there. Are you going to stuff her too? She ain't worth it. She was my employee. Stole a lot of money from me. She put up a real fight. What are you going to do with the body? I know folks will pay good money for a fresh cadaver. They throw the woman's body next to the jaguars and the dogs keep guard. While she was thrashing around, she said she was sorry, he says, watching the bodies on the ground. I almost let her go because she seemed sincere, but I gave you my word, and my word's more valuable. In the last hour, the wind has blown in heavy dark clouds, blocking the sun's rays from the ground. Tree branches quiver. A storm is rolling in. Bronco climbs back into his truck and retraces his path, leaving a cloud of dust in his wake that will soon be erased by the rain. He tries to change the radio station, but all he can tune in is an evangelical station warning of the end times. The rapture is nigh, says the preacher, according to the calculations of an American pastor who studied the subject for decades. In short, the righteous will be taken to heaven, the wicked will be left here on earth. The end is nigh, the preacher warns again, his tone steeped with accusation and fear. And he goes on, prepare yourself, for the coming of the Son of Man is at hand. The time has come. Repent, sinners. Death has come. It is time to kill, and it is time to die. Bronco Gil lights a cigar and rests his arm on the rolled-down window as he drives. He doesn't deserve heaven. He keeps heading west, following his gut. If the end of the world had come, he'd stay down here with the rest of us. If the time for killing and dying comes, he's prepared for both.